What's up? What's up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Compin Atlanta, episode 8. So glad you could be here with us. We rocking in live. It's gonna be an exciting time. Today we got a special guest with us. We're gonna get this thing all started. She's already in the back, just hanging out. Got some chips and a little bit of wine back there for her, enjoying herself. That's how we do when you a guest and you come on. We really gonna get locked in. You have a good old time, and so that's exactly what we do. What I want to do before we get started is definitely give all shout outs and praise to everybody for coming out, hanging out with us. We got a couple of things that we're gonna go over today, but always first and foremost, if you have a deal that you want to be able to get comped with us. We got a couple that was already sent before the episode started, which is kind of crazy, but definitely shouts out to you. And all the messages come straight to my phone. So if you send it over, there you go, right here. Look at this. These are comp properties that people want. So if you send it over, we'll definitely jump in and lock it in. There's a lot of great things happening in the marketplace. Some people are scared about what's taking place. And in all honesty, you really should. Because as an investor, this is legit the best time to be in the game. Almost every single individual that I know that is an investor that's been in the game for quite some time, they've always said the same exact thing when it came to how much they made and where they grew their wealth and etc. It all stemmed from when there was a quote unquote recession, right? Now, in the last couple of months, I've been really studying and learning a lot more, not just on my own, but learning from different people. And one of the things that I realized is from those individuals who were already in a past recession, they kind of broke down like how a recession actually works. A lot of times people hear the word recession and they think, oh man, that's it, end of the world. But as human beings, we can say we are, we are the type of species that will not just lay down and take it. Like we will always strive, we will always grow to bigger and better. But there's ways you can go about it. You can struggle and suffer and eventually be able to move on and grow, or you can be prepared for ultimately what's going to happen anyway. Like there's really no way around not going through the hard times or the valleys, okay? And so, but if you prepare yourself for it, then it kind of sets things up and puts you in a whole different perspective, in a whole different place. And so this is what we're about. This is what we're doing. I would recommend that you guys get some education on. There's tons of places. Even if you just went on YouTube and got some of the free stuff, there's tons of stuff that you can be able to, people you can go to get this quality information. I mean, listen, I think you guys already know, but if you need help, post in the comments and I'll make sure to answer all of them and say who you should be able to get some help from that are free. All right. There's a lot of stuff that's out there, but I thoroughly believe you can at least get 75% of the game that you need to make a difference in your life. And you don't have to pay for it, right? Because this is value that's being given in this amazing time that we live in. So with that being said, I'm ready to go. I'm gonna bring my guest on. I got my Rick and Morty shirt on. You know what I mean? Who got the deals? And down here it says send me the deals. And so I'm gonna bring somebody on stage who I know is familiar with deals flow, and how to be able to get more and more of them. She's a phenomenal investor. She's local here to the Atlanta market. She's going to come in and school us on the game. Bianca, what's going on?
Hey.
Good.
How are you?
I'm fantastic. How about yourself?
I'm good. I was working all the way up to
the last minute, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, that's what we do. It's the perfect time to work.
Perfect. It's a perfect time to work. It is. It really is. It really is. I did
really is.
hear you. I'm
Yeah,
excited.
yeah.
I'm excited
Me
about
too. Me too. Me too. So this is really dope. Tell us a little bit about yourself. This is actually let me give some backdrop. You're actually the first female guest we have on Compin Atlanta. So that's really big. You know,
it.
set up by design.
Yes. Oh, that's what's up. I'm
Yeah, yeah.
so honored.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and who are you? What do you do in the marketplace, and why are you one of the most sought after leaders in Atlanta when it comes to the real estate space?
You're so kind. You're so kind, Eddie. Um, my name's Bianca. I'm actually really new to real estate investing. I've been in the real estate investing area in different ways for about like a year and a half. Um, to be honest, I feel like I just did a really good job of networking with amazing people like you, Eddie, and heavy hitters in my local market and also actually national market, who just propelled my learning and my exposure in this industry. And because I'm so passionate about it and I absolutely love it, a lot of sides of the real estate investing from acquisitions to how it benefits buyers, whether that's investor buyers or buyers who can't do um, traditional financing to purchase a home, all the way through how the paperwork goes. Like I just enjoy it. I enjoy the power of real estate and how it can change lives. So, yeah, and I just like sharing it. I like sharing it. I like um, see.
I love it. I love it. And so listen, here's one of the things, right? Um, so one of Bianca's superpowers, in my opinion, is two main things. One, she's an amazing networker, like she said, right? She's been able to will herself in the right spaces and created an entire lifestyle from it because of her skill set in networking and how she's been able to do that. The other skill set is she's great at solving problems, right? She's been amazing at being able to look at something from the top view and analyze it and make the whole thing work. So what I want to do is kind of ask you, Bianca, like, what do you think is one of the main problems that newer wholesalers are having when it comes to real estate in this market, Atlanta especially?
Particularly, I think it's just seeing real estate as like a quick, like, just get money and not seeing it as you do got to do your due diligence. You do have to understand what's going on in the market, understand how the numbers work so that you can be a true, I guess, a true giver in the market. I don't know if I'm
Mhm.
using the right word. But you have to understand how real estate works, how the investing works, and people jump into it. And I love the action because that's something that I struggle with. I love when people just jump head first into it. However, it's real estate. You do have to take it seriously. And especially if you want to do it, as a career or even as a part-time job or just making money from it, spending your time understanding what's going on and how the numbers work so that your time is spent efficiently. And again, what we go back to and something that I'm passionate about is helping people. You can't truly help someone if you don't understand how the market works. And whether it's as a wholesaler or an investor or a realtor, it's just beneficial for everybody, all the parties involved, when people take heart to um, what is needed to put a good deal together, to put the options together, the best option for sellers and buyers or whatever the situation is. So yeah, I think it's just what my biggest thing what I see is just not paying attention to what is needed to get a good deal or to put together a good option for the person in need.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's facts. I believe that, right? Being a goal giver is probably like the biggest, most amazing part of the game that most people don't pay attention to. They kind of come in real estate because they've been hearing, like everybody else, that like, yo, you can make tons of money in here. I heard wholesaling, I don't need a license and this, that, and the third. And they're just looking for what's the least amount of information that I need to be able to get to the bag. And in doing that, ultimately, you're going to leave out the most important thing is to be able to give value, right? And that's really essentially what it's about, being able to figure out how to give value and make that work. So,
Yeah, also, spending your time efficiently. What I see is like we'll use a wholesale example, right? You want to be a wholesaler that makes money. You don't want to spend all those times, all those hours spending on the phone, cold calling. Even if you do have a cold caller, you're spending money. So even if you want to take it from just a profit standpoint, you're not going to be that profitable in the long run.
mhm,
If you don't understand what's going on,
yeah.
deals will fall through. You will lose your network really quickly.
Yeah, for real. If you create a bad name for yourself, you know, it's crazy, right? Because real estate is big. I was looking at something I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they had a question. It was like, "Hey, so what do you do if you're talking to an agent and they don't really want to deal with you because you're an investor, right?" And I was like, you go to the next agent, right? And I actually looked up like how many active agents are there in Atlanta versus how many agents are there in Atlanta, just period, right? There's 20,000 people that are employed as an agent in Georgia, and there's 7,000 that are active in Atlanta. So it's like if you don't do, the point I'm trying to make is as large as those numbers sound, word travels really fast
Really fast.
if you're messing up, right? So it's super important to make sure that you are about giving value, being a go-giver first. Probably one of my favorite books. If you guys haven't read it, I highly, highly recommend Go Giver by Bob Berg. And it essentially just to kind of explains to you, like, you have to learn to look at things from the standpoint of how can I give added value and benefit to this other person, regardless of does that equal payment back to myself. And when you start learning to operate that way, it changes everything. I know people be like, yeah, but I'm hungry. I got bills and this, that, and third. I can't be just out here being Mother Teresa. I totally get you,
Totally understand. One of
right?
a book that I'm reading right now is
Uh-huh.
like The Science of the Rich.
What was it?
The Science of or Science.
Science of Getting Rich. Yeah. It's by Mr. Wallace, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a good book. I recommend it. You remember the part where it talks about the more that you give, obviously, the more that you receive, what we already know, but then it allows you to overflow. So you advancing other people, yes, it may feel like you're not advancing yourself. However, when you are mindful and you're self-aware about what your visions are or what your goals are, and then however you align with my God or the universe, however that is to each one. But when you align yourself with your vision and then you advance that, you advance other people, you're also advancing your vision, which then turns into obviously, more than likely a profit.
Yep, for sure. Well, and that's the thing. Like in my experience, it only turns to one or two things. It turns to a profit, or it turns to a bigger and better situation that sometimes isn't like directly correlated with money at that moment, right? But it puts you in a better situation so that next time, you would have made more money from that situation than you would from the one that you felt that you lost, right? So definitely good. And I think that kind of lines up with like what I've known. I've been hearing people talk about you so much and how you've been helping people and what you've been willing to do. And one of the things that you do, because you have a lot, uh, one of the things that you do is you've been able to figure out ways to help sellers and the investor make more money on their deal, which is kind of weird and unheard of because like the whole game we thought is if I'm the investor, my job is to make as much money as possible. And then if you're the seller, to me, you're supposed to make as little money as possible because that's how I make more money. And you've kind of figured a way to be able to get in the middle and help everybody make more money, the investor, the wholesaler, the seller. So how's that all work? Like how can we get to thinking like you in our next deals?
Okay. I've been really blessed to have been educated in creative transactions or non-traditional. I like saying non-traditional financing, non-traditional sales. Um, First is you definitely have to, how you definitely have to have an understanding of finances and how the economy works. So I do have people that I work with. I do believe in teaming up with people. If you don't know something, team up with somebody who doesn't. But um, non-traditional real estate allows you to negotiate what works for the seller and the buyer, or a lot of times the investor. So instead of just utilizing the bank and what the bank terms are for the buyer, and then how non-traditional, traditional real estate, listed it on the market, having a direct conversation between the investor and the seller and coming to an agreement, shaking hand, a win-win situation uh, can allow for both parties to make more money depending on the situation. So going back to what I was saying, that's where it is important that you have an understanding of um, the economy a little bit, or have somebody on your team. A little bit is accounting stuff, and then your overall goal, because that obviously is going to go into the negotiations. Your overall goal as an investor, or the overall goal of the seller, to be able to come to some type of agreement. Essentially, in a nutshell, simply put, that's what I think. How's that sound, Eddie?
That sounds good. So give me an example. Like take one of the what you got in that's like 20, 30.
I know I tried to find the one that I posted and I can't find it. So I was like, we can just use, if you want to just pull up a Zillow property, or we can just pick one and I can just use it as an example, because I was trying to find the one that I actually had.
Okay.
But I do have a lot of deals. I couldn't find it.
All right. So I'm gonna pull up a Zillow and we'll start on that. And then in the meantime, give us an example of like on the numbers side, how that works. Like what does it look like for the seller and investor, and how we're able to make money from that.
Okay. Okay, cool. I'll just use like some random numbers until you pull one up. Some easy numbers. All right. So, and you said just the number side. I'll give you
Yeah.
guys
Do
everybody.
you want me to just pull up a? So I got Zillow up. Hold on, let me share my screen for you. So I
Yeah.
got Zillow up, and we can just pull up an address.
I'm a visual learner. Okay, while you pull up an address, I'm gonna like give you guys like a story. So let's just say you have a seller who has been trying to sell their property on market for a while, and they particularly want or need and let's say, yeah, a certain amount. They need a certain amount, and that's why they haven't reduced the price or done anything to the property to be able to increase the chances of it selling on market. Okay. Because when a property is sold on market with an agent, you have to consider the commissions and the fees that are involved, as well as any type of contingencies based off of the buyer. And a lot of buyers that are buying on the market are um, buying with the loan. And then, FHA loans have specific terms and requirements that they have. So all those have to be considered when, listing on market. So let's say this seller is like, okay, he's still looking for a property. Let's just say the seller wants $200,000. And then after all those fees, they're still not, what they're netting is not enough. And so then you have a buyer, and then you have, oh, okay, cool.
Here you go. We got this one. Is this a good one?
Sure. It doesn't matter. I just need something tangible.
And you that nice? It don't even match.
No. I just need something
Jeez.
to look at.
All right, so we got this property. It says it's for sale, listed with an agent right now for 343.
Cool. All right. Oh, cute. So it's a cool, great property. How long has it been listed for? I hadn't been listed for that many days, but it doesn't even really matter because I know people who've done it this way and has been listed. But anyway, let's just say this person, okay, they're like, I want 343. But then they're getting offers for like 340, 330. Actually, let me give you a little bit more dramatic numbers. But they're getting offers more around 320. And then after all the commissions and fees, what they're netting is not what they want or what they need for whatever reason.
Wait a minute. You mean to tell me in this day and age, in this market, there's sellers that are putting their property up and they're not getting their price that they really wanted for their property?
No, they're not.
Oh man.
I know. properties are sitting on the market a little bit longer. And again, with properties that are listed on market, a lot of the buyers are using conventional loans or FHA, whatever. And as you guys know, the interest rates have gone up. So it has affected people's ability to be approved for the amount that they were before, or get approved for the amount that they would like to get the property that they.
Let me jump in there real quick. This isn't just on our side of the table as far as like a random regular seller and a random regular buyer. Even on the investment side, when I mean investment, I'm talking more so like Wall Street money, right? So like Open Door right now has a large amount of inventory that is sitting on the market, and it is taking them about 120 days from the time that they list the property for their property to be sold. And that's Open Door, who was spending money like it was going out of style just 2-3 months ago, right? So you got to take those things into consideration. And this is why what Bianca is talking about right here allows you guys to come in and play in a space that the agent is failing and it's not really their fault. The market is totally different, and the seller still has that need that the traditional sense that they were looking to go after to solve their problem isn't working. So that's when you call Bianca.
Yep. Hey. Okay. Yeah. And so for whatever reason, people have needs or wants. And that's the fun part about it. Even if you're just a person who wants a particular amount and the market doesn't meet that, a seller can't get what they want on the market, Creative Way can come and save the day. Oh, that rhymed. Okay.
Yeah, make that a shirt.
The Creative Way can come and save. I know that was kind of fun. All right. So I lost track. Okay. So let's just say this person is not getting the offers that they want. And then on top of that, after commissions and fees, they still aren't netting how much they would like to get. And then Eddy and I will say, "Ooh, I like this house. This looks good. Let's see if they will be open to something creative." Because let's just say that this property is cash flowing. Like we already know it's a cash flowing property. Because to explain it on the investor side, the reason that a creative deal is amazing for us is because we're able to purchase properties without having to pay for like the origination fees for a loan. That can tack on a couple thousands, several thousands. And then me personally, I absolutely love being able to help the seller make more money. And then we analyze it differently as an investor. We can purchase the property at retail, at fair market value, or a little bit higher, because we're analyzing it differently. We're not looking at it just for appreciation, right? We're looking at it for the cash flow. So that being said, Eddy and I look at this. We're like, we like this property. We know it's going to cash flow for us. Hey, let's give the seller a call. And then based off of what the seller's needs are, and let's just say that this person does not need all their net money all at one time, then we're able to kind of play around with the numbers to give the person a little bit up front and then over time, however that looks. And that can look so many different ways. It's hard to pick one.
Yes, yeah. So I'll give you guys an example. When we just did, I got this lead from a fellow sub-2 student. Hit me up. He said, "Yo, I got somebody who is part of the Astro Flipping family with us." So first of all, shout out to all my Astro Flipping fam and Jamel. Love you all. And so it was like, I can't help him on this lead. Can you help out? So I get in contact with the Astro Flipper. We go through it, kind of see what the deal is. The crazy thing is the person that's selling this house is actually an agent. They're an agent trying to sell this property, and they not listing this property. They tried to, it did not sell. And so what we were able to do is to get the agent the price that they wanted. In fact, we paid $15,000 more than the price that they wanted. And what we were able to do is get the property on terms. So the property expired off of the market, so it's no longer being listed on the market. We're purchasing the property. We're putting 20,000 down. The property is in an amazing space, amazing area, could easily cash flow and easily be Section 8 for affordable housing, which is a win-win. In addition to that, we're paying 1% interest on a 30-year amortized loan. And so that's a situation just like Bianca is explaining. Like the seller, who again is an agent, and I'm saying that point because a lot of times people, for whatever reason, I don't know who was spreading rumors at the lunchroom table, but people think that, hey, listen, if you're an agent, you don't bang or you can't do business with an investor. Hey, if you're an investor, you don't talk to those agents. And that is the most silliest things. In fact, I've made some of the most larger deals working with agents and brokers. And so you got to change your thought process so you can be able to get in and help. Because a lot of times we assume that this other person don't need our help, or they can figure it out, or they got better options. And in the words of Bianca, no, boo-boo, I'm the best option.
I do say that. No, I am the best option.
You know what I mean? Like,
I care about you. I want this to work.
Right. And when you lead with that, it totally changes everything that kind of can take place.
Yeah, let me give you guys like a really fun where you can see for real the need. Okay. Especially the type of market that we're about to go in. And this is where I get like so excited because it's such an amazing way to help people who are in a rough spot. Okay. So I've had a seller that for whatever reason didn't know that they had a second mortgage. And that second mortgage went into arrears, about 160,000. Oh, past due amounts. Arrears, aka past due amounts. So they didn't know there was a second mortgage. Once they found out, it was up to $160,000. That was just a second mortgage past due amount. On top of their already first mortgage. And then it had a auction date on it, unfortunately, which was like 3-4 months away from the time that we found them. So anyway, what we were able to do with this property is negotiate the second mortgage lien down and then take over the property subject to the existing mortgage, because that was just the best option as the investor and for the sellers. Like, it didn't make sense for us because it was a nice property. You know what I'm saying? One of the biggest misconceptions is investors only want to flip properties. Like, we want the crappiest house, or we're only trying to undercut people. Like, no, I only want it for a discount, which is true if we're trying to make just a little bit of profit. Even if I want to make a 5% profit, right? We do have to buy it at a discount, but it just makes sense number wise, right? But with this one, because it was with the foreclosure, it was a nice house. There was no way it wasn't going to work with the cash deal. It doesn't make sense for an investor to come in with the cash deal for us to come in. So negotiated.
Let me ask you a question real quick. What does, you said subject to, what does that mean?
Subject to the existing mortgage. So that means that you will be closing escrow subject to the existing mortgage. You can do closing subject to existing liens. So yeah, okay. This one's just would be subject to the existing mortgage, which is a type of lien. But you can close subject to like IRS liens. You can close subject to HOA liens if that's your fancy. But yeah, so negotiated those down. And then the sellers, remind you now, the sellers, their second mortgage had a foreclosure date. There was no way that they was going to able to bring us $160,000 to by that closing date. I mean, by the auction date. So the sellers were at risk for losing their home. Even if we wanted to come in cash, it wouldn't make sense for the sellers to get any money in this deal, because the past due amount plus the mortgage, it was that purchase amount would have been like almost to retail. Okay. Like retail market Do people understand that? Does that make sense when I say retail price?
No, explain it to me like I'm 6.
Oh, okay. Okay, I made that face and I'm like, let me see if I can do it. Okay, retail price is basically, if I can, if, in my mind, how I think of it is what is the market, meaning what are the buyers out here, people out here willing to pay for homes, what are they willing to buy at an average?
Okay, got you.
So,
That makes sense. That was perfect.
okay, so yeah, even if it makes sense for us as investors to come in cash, the sellers wouldn't have made anything because we were able to take over this property, negotiate the second lien, negotiate the second liens down, pay that off to bring to reinstate the second loan, which cancels, cancels the auction date. So now they're not going to lose their home, which means they're not going to get foreclosed on. And that also means their credit is saved.
There you go. Now talk about that really quick because that's a benefit that I don't think enough investors when they're talking to sellers are really kind of pushing, right? Most sellers aren't even aware. Like I have a text message conversation from a seller yesterday that was like, I want, let's say the number is 300,000. I want 300,000 or I'm not selling it. And we're like, first of all, 300,000 is just way too much for your property. Like properties that are in better condition than yours are only selling for 250. So that's kind of weird. But maybe we could talk about it, right? And she's like, well, if I don't get it, then I'm just gonna let the bank take it. And we're like, that shouldn't be the option that you're thinking of because it's not a simple transaction. It's not like you borrowed somebody's car and then now you're like, well, I don't really like it. I don't like driving it no more. So here's the keys. You can have it back. Like, no, it comes with so much stuff on the back end, even to the point where you might not be able to find a place to live, regardless of a house. We're talking about even just an apartment. So, Bianca, tell a little bit about like what's all entailed into that.
I'm gonna tell you what I do know about it. I'm still learning more in depth as far as like the foreclosure process. I understand how I can assist as an investor, but the actual foreclosure process, obviously, I am trying to help people not get there. But if you get foreclosed on your mortgage, then that affects you for 7 years. You cannot get a mortgage. I don't think you can get a car loan. I think I just read you can't get a car loan.
You
Um,
you can't even rent an apartment. Some apartments are gonna look at that, and as soon as they see
mhm.
that, they will deny you.
Yeah, for 7 years. And then
Crazy.
on top of that, your credit gets a huge hit. So it's just like, oh, people don't know evictions too. Evictions are the same. You may be able to get an auto loan, but I know it affects you for 7 years and it stays on your credit. So you don't want to get evicted either. And that's why those things are so important. But yes, unfortunately, that's the thing. But because people don't know, a lot of people
Mhm.
are not aware of non-traditional options. Unfortunately, they think that is, like you said, it's either short sale where they got to come to the closing with some money, and I think it possibly may take a small hit to your credit, or they feel like they're just going to have to lose it, and those are not their only options. So yeah, so with that property that I was speaking of, the sellers were actually able to walk away with some money because it worked like that. It worked well for our numbers as investors over time because we realized how we were able to get our money back from the bringing the past due amounts up. Um, and yeah, and the sellers actually did walk away from that closing. I think they got $10,000 at cash at closing.
That's
Actually, a little,
awesome.
maybe 20,000 that they would not have gotten. Um, and then we took over the existing loan.
That's fine. So they went from not being able to sell it, about to lose it, and risk essentially damaging their credit, maybe living in a box for 7 years, to meeting you, linking up, learning, allowing you to work in magic, and they walked away with about 15, 20,000.
Yes, they were. Yep, yep. They would have walked away with more, but there was a lien on the property that they had to come out their proceeds. So it actually would have been like 30,000.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I need like a bell or like a some sound effect so that when we can see something. Yeah. Oh, I got you. I got you. Don't even worry. It's coming. It's coming. But no, that's amazing. Imagine the power that you are able to have and the confidence that you're able to have in knowing you can truly give value, right? What we was talking about being a go-giver and help people. Like that puts you in a whole different category when you're talking to sellers. That the average investor that's just like, hey, I'm just trying to make money. They're not going to be in it for that long haul and not to be able to have that. I promise you, this seller is probably talking to everybody like, oh, listen, if you need to sell your house, I got the girl for you. She's phenomenal. That's awesome.
It is, and that's what makes it even more fun. But I mean, like even the deal that I showed the other day, that was just an investor to another investor. That one I was doing TCing on, and I was investor to investor, and she just wanted her number, and they were like, it worked for them, and they were like, okay, she got 10 grand more, and from what I looked at, the ARV, I think it was like 20,000-30,000 off. So she got more. So even as investor to investor, I love it that way too. Who doesn't like to make other people money?
See that?
So it's like you can go from a need all the way to how much fun we gonna have, how much money we're gonna make together.
Right. That's beautiful. Beautiful thing.
And
Super proud of you.
I know. Oh, thank you. And did you see that in China they're blocking the banks and not letting people get their money out of the bank?
I saw that.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it. It's kind of crazy though. People think, oh, here you go. I knew I was gonna find it. This is a shout out to you. You know what I mean? Doing it. So it's crazy, right? There was a point in time, let's call it 10 years ago, that I remember sitting, I was watching TV and I was like, man, it would be crazy if here in America we would have to wear a mask the way I see they wear masks in different countries, right?
Yes.
As a normal, regular thing. And we all know what took place not too long ago, and hopefully everybody made it through that, et cetera, et cetera. But I remember when that all took place and we all was wearing masks. And I was like, dang, like I never thought it would happen regardless of in my lifetime. I just never thought that would happen, right? And so this morning I saw the news clip popped up and it was showing like what's taking place over there. And they literally have tanks, which is kind of wild to think that you need tanks in order to stop people from going to the bank
To get
and
out.
to get their money out. They were not allowing people to go into the banks to withdraw any money out their savings because the banks are using their money that is in the banks as savings. They're using it for investment strategies for, you guessed it, the bank. Because I'm pretty sure they don't have better return rates than we do here in the States when we have our money in the bank. And that is 0.00, a bunch of zeros pretty much, okay? So keep that in mind, right? Like,
I was like, that yield is so disrespectful. When I first saw that, by the way,
it's not even a yield at that point. It's just
like, what 0.00. I don't even know if it was a one more zero because at that point I'm like, what's the point?
It's an accidental. It's a clerical error. Is what it is. It's not even like somebody just meant to put 0%. And you know how on a Excel spreadsheet, if you don't hit that round up number, that's exactly what happens. So, long story short, what we're saying is learn how to be able to pivot because the institutions and the different strategies that people were just once so strong, held on, and was beneficial to them and helped them, etc., can change, is changing, will change at some point in time. And if you know the skill sets, or more importantly, if you know the individuals you can reach out to who have those skill sets. A lot of people look at me and they're like, yo, Eddy, you to this and that third of Atlanta, blah, blah, blah. The truth of the matter is I do know a lot, but I know a little compared to the individuals that I surround myself around that know a whole lot more than I do. So virtually, there isn't any situation, there isn't any question that I cannot get an answer to if I don't know it myself. So essentially, that makes me more powerful than I really am or even need to be. I don't have to sit and just be like, man, I need to learn this and study this and learn it. Like, there's things that I've told Bianca, like, I don't know that stuff. You know it. Like, I'm calling you, I'm asking you for advice on it because you studied it. And I can take the time to study it. And of course, I probably will, maybe, probably not. But at the end of the day, it's like, if I have Bianca, I have access to her, and I can lean on her expertise and pay her for that, then I'm good, right? And so it's about that, like she said in the beginning, it's about networking, right? Being able to get there. So let me ask you, Bianca.
I mean, I know I understand how to structure these deals, and I understand, and I love talking to sellers and understanding people's stories and putting together like just options because I love non-traditional real estate, but that's because of the things that I've seen, things that I've been through, my perspective of this world. But it doesn't mean that I don't traditional school too, whatever. But like I said in the beginning, I refer to somebody who's an accountant, an expert in financing to make sure my numbers look good and to really run it in depth because that's their expertise. Like why, yeah, like you said, will I kind of study it? I might.
Yeah, maybe.
But I would rather spend my
I'm
time
on vacation somewhere. I got nothing to do. Like,
yeah.
let me see what this is about.
Right. Or I just rather spend my time doing things that I know I'm good at.
There you go. Or more importantly, things that you enjoy. You know what I mean? Like,
that is true because you can be good at something, not enjoy it.
Yep. So let me ask you, Bianca, when you are doing deals for yourself, because you're also an accomplished real estate investor and take down deals yourself and etc. What do you use for comping and how do you comp? Like, we really want to get into your mindset. Are you using Zillow or do you have another tool that you use when you're comping?
I use Zillow and the FMLS. Okay. And well, I just saw that PropStream brought MLS back.
They did, right? They brought that thing back like Diddy brought Mace back. It was kind of crazy.
Oh, that was fast.
It's like, oh, all right. My bad.
I needed that. But yeah, Zillow, I really like Zillow, but I do use FMLS just to like double check.
Okay. Well, let's let you get the wheel. We got some properties. I'm gonna let you do one or two, and we want to see how you comp. And one of the things that we've been blessed to be able to understand is that comping is not an exact science. Like, people have different ways that they comp. They use different tools. There's different reasoning behind what they do. And that's because every investor has their own strategies. And so whereas you can be buying something at one price, for me, I could never buy at that price because it doesn't make sense for my strategy, right? And so in this show, we kind of like to showcase all and how everybody likes to do it and what they do because it's important. It helps you understand, like, oh, okay, I need to first align myself with what my goal is, and then I can figure out which comping style I like the best. But there are certain rules you want to stick to when you come to comping. The rules don't change. The style of how you do it does change, right? So with that being said, though, I would like to make sure that we make this clear. Atlanta is a, What'd you say?
And I was making one thing clear. I'm not good at comping. So I will comp. And then if it's like something cash, I will check with somebody who's an expert.
See, dang, you beat me. I had a whole setup. It's cool. It's cool. See if you get another invite. All right. So here's what I was gonna say, right? Even when you're comping, Atlanta's a special place, right? You have different pockets, you have neighborhoods, you have like maybe sometimes I don't even call it areas because literally there's only like 2 main streets that are like at this comp and everything else isn't. So you got to understand the market And until you get to that point, one of the best things that you can do, even when you're at that point, is to be able to connect with the individuals that you know are doing business in those areas. So especially if you're wholesaling, you don't need to master how to get this down packed in the beginning. What you need to do is be able to connect with your cash buyer investors, right? Reach out to them. So let's say you reach out to Bianca and you're like, hey, look, I got a property. Here's what I think the ARV is based off of my comps. But tell me what you think. And then more importantly, tell me what you would pay for the property. So you're getting best of both worlds now, because now you're getting a master class at how to comp and how to figure out what the maximum allowable offer would be, which a lot of times you hear people call it mayo, what you can actually pay for the property. And this is coming, different information is coming from someone who would be interested in buying it, which is like you got your buyer right there. Like, that's freaking phenomenal. Like, what are we talking about? Right? So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna let you share your screen.
You let me share my screen.
Yeah. What you got on your screen, girl?
I don't know. Let me check.
Yeah, check. So nothing pop up.
Oh no. Oh, so I had let me see how to work this, because I put.
You should be able to share. Let me know if you can. And then I'll start giving you some addresses. Again, shout out to everybody that's been sending address over. We got a couple that's popping in right now.
Are you on your account?
On my, no, I'm not.
Actually, I'm not going to use that. I'll just use Zillow. I'm not going to use that because I want to show people how to do it.
All right.
Or how I do like this, because I actually don't even get on PropStream as much, because once they took that MLS off, I was like, this ain't as fun no more. I do like it for like looking for buyers. I mean, looking at what other buyers are doing.
Are paying for it? Yeah. I do the same thing with it too.
It's easier to, well, sometimes it's easier to scroll on Zillow, but Zillow doesn't always have it.
Okay.
And then, did you notice? I noticed that I think PropStream shows like the whole days on market, versus like if you look on FMLS, you have to add it up. Like if a property was like put back on.
Yeah.
So it's deceiving.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is actually something to consider that I don't think people consider. You look
days
at the
on
days on market, because like that's
talk your stuff, girl. Teach the people.
That's what I ended up finding out. Yeah, for example, like when I was looking on the FMLS, you do have to add it up. Like if you don't, it is not going to show on one screen, versus like on PropStream, it shows the complete days on market from the time the agent like lists it. And so if you only were going by like one analytic, it's super deceiving as what the property sold, how fast the property sold for.
Yep. And now, why is that important? Why would the days on market matter to me? I'm a wholesaler. Who cares?
Oh, if you're a wholesaler, why does it matter? It matters to you because it's giving you an indication of what the market, because remember, the market are your buyers. That is what people are willing to pay for a property. So if the days on market is long, that means that these people don't like that number. They think it's ridiculous.
There you go. It's giving, boss.
Giving. Okay. So, I forgot I was supposed to be playing.
I text you the address too.
How do you share your screen? Oh, share screen. I wish I did have both my monitors today. I'm at home today.
Gotta get it, girl.
Window. Safari.
All right. While she's doing that, let me go ahead and answer any questions in the chat. So, question is, how do we know if a deal should be creative or not? It's a great question, Thomas. Good question, Thomas. So, in my opinion, I don't jump out the gate with creative. That's not how I do my business when I'm looking at deals. I typically look at everything else. So I do it in like a pattern or a flow, right? So the first thing I'm looking at is understand this mindset, this mind frame, right? Purchasing a house is hands down probably the most expensive purchase a human being will do in the United States in their entire lifetime. Majority of the people do not spend that amount of money at one time, more than one time in their life. Period. It's not like something you'd be like, oh, I forgot when I spent $343,000 on that one house, right? Like the average person is not gonna forget that. It's gonna be a very big part and thing in their life. There you go.
Can you see it?
Yep, I just added it.
Yeah.
Right. So what tends to happen is when it comes time to sell the property, that's also a very big deal. And so in my mind, I look at it like this. If a seller is interested in selling, the first thing I'm going to do is try to figure out why are you selling it and why do you not list the property with your agent? Why do I say that? It's not because I own a brokerage. It's because the place where you get the most amount of money for your property is on the market. You have millions of people who have access to the MLS and can see your property and give you a greater chance of being able to purchase, right? So I normally ask, why don't you sell it on the market first? Find out what the answer is. Then I ask them, if it needs repairs, why don't they just fix it up to sell it and then sell it on the market? Then I find out, why sell it at all, if anything, right? I'm doing all these questions because I want to be able to find out, shout out to Omar, what up, bro? I want to be able to find out exactly why are they looking to sell, one, and two, why don't they go through their other normal channels? Because creative deals is something that helps people who don't want to or cannot go through the other channels to give them the benefit that they need. And that's when I would pitch a creative deal, or I would look to be able to look at creative options. Like the person that we just did the deal with, right? The agent could have easily sold on the market. She could have easily put more money into the property. It wasn't yielding her the results that she needed, but us buying it creative gave it to her, just gave it to her different, right? It's like if you have kids, everybody here with kids want their kids to eat vegetables. And then you would love to be able to just put the vegetables on the table and they eat it. But it doesn't work. And so sometimes you got to blend that thing up and mix it into their, spaghetti, and they absolutely devour it and ask you for seconds, not realizing that they're still getting their vegetables in, right? Their nutrients. They still get the end benefit. It's just done different. All right.
Yeah. That is definitely one way of doing. That's one way. But to be like another way, only because I'm doing this is I told Eddy I want to buy a condo subject to. So I'm not even going to start with a cash. I'm not. I'm just going to say, hey, would you be interested in selling your property for either what it's worth, or are you interested in terms? Because that's how I want to purchase property. And Chris Potts did that. I was inspired by another investor who needed to move to Atlanta. He saw a
Shout out to Chris Potts, man. My God, I was just talking to him this week.
Yeah. So yeah. So Eddy, there's different ways, but knowing if it's a creative deal or not is also, like he said, it's dependent on what the seller needs and wants. So understanding their story. So he's basically saying take them through, because most people aren't aware of what non-traditional options are. So if you take them through what traditional options are, it's a little bit easier to then be like, okay, have you considered this though? Right? Because now you're presenting something outside of the traditional options that most people are only aware of.
Yep.
Okay. So my computer's being really slow, but probably because I got so many things open. But this highlighted property right here is the subject property for 4597 Ryan Road, Conley, Georgia. What I did is I put the address here. I switched this to sold so I could just see the sold properties in the area. We're going to home type because it's a home. We're deselecting all of these. Let's see. All right, and then my property, as far as I know, is a 3-1. How do I work my thing? Oops. How do you work this? Okay. Oh, bed and baths. 3, 1. Here we go. Okay. And then you can do lot size, square feet, and all that stuff if you want to. Just for the purposes of the day, I don't feel like we need to. Well, maybe actually no. Let me add the how long sold in the last. Oops. Let's do 90 days. 90 days is kind of sketchy, but I'll do it. Okay, so our subject property is one. Oops, dang it. I was waiting up for it to load. Okay. Our subject property is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's this one. Okay. Um, this property is a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom, 1250 square feet. Sometimes I like to look here, but I do it afterwards. So what I do first is just find out what's up with the property. Like, what is it about? 1965, single family. Okay, it's a brick. That's a brick. Um, I don't see a garage, or maybe that used to be one right there. Uh, okay. And then I really love this. I geek out on price history, so I love when this is like extensive because it's like a story. But yeah, okay, so I know this is 3-1, 1965, about 1250 square feet. So I come over here. There aren't any properties sold within this neighborhood. So this line is pretty thick. So I would probably say that all these houses here are part of the same neighborhood. And the thing is, as with wholesalers, because wholesalers aren't involved, I don't think, I don't think anybody's trying to not, mess up their numbers on purpose, but I think it's more so because wholesalers aren't involved with the backside of things. They don't understand how appraisers work. And appraisers are not going to other neighborhoods if there is a property in the neighborhood. Um, that is something that I see often when people are comping properties. You can't just jump over into another neighborhood and comp off of that. Do you feel that way, Eddie?
I do, yeah. I like to stay as close as possible. Um, there's a saying that I say: keep it tight, keep it right. It normally relates to other aspects of life, but this also works the same, right? Like you want to stay as close as possible as you can, because the only reason why we do comps in the first place, by the way, is because of appraisals, right?
Yes.
So you want to make sure that you're doing it the same fashion that they do it, or the whole thing's wrong. The whole thing is off.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Okay. I like this comp.
It's not that bad. Let's look all right.
Yeah.
I don't know
Okay.
how I feel about that brown up front, but
I like how it looked, but it seemed like it's like in the same area ish. This is where I'm like, huh? Because this road seemed like it could be in the same neighborhood. The house is pretty comparable,
mhm.
pretty similar. So I think it's a good comp. Um,
Now this property here is a 3-2,
mhm.
and our property's a 3-1. So how much of a difference does that make?
From my understanding, and this is when I believe that the best thing to do, like you said, is just because I'm not familiar with Conley. So if this was a property that I was like really considering, I would be, I think, what is it, 5,000 off, $5,000 per bedroom.
Yeah.
That's like a rough estimate. But then again, I like to know my numbers because I'm still new. I don't have a huge cushion. I'm not a millionaire that, you know, my numbers got to be solid. So I would hit up a local realtor, and then ask just to double check. But I think it's like 5,000 per bedroom. So I would take off 5,000 for that bedroom, and then kind of tweak my numbers a little bit for this difference in the square footage, because ours is a 1250. This one is 615. So what is that? About like 350 off.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Yep.
ain't that much.
Not at all. And so how would that conversation go if you were calling a realtor? Like, what do I say? 'Cause-
Hey, my name's Bianca, and I am an investor. I found a property in Conley. I'm not really familiar with the area. I have a property, it's a 3-1, and I see that there's a 3-2 that's kind of comparable. Can you kind of assist me with, if I just did a full renovation and kept it as a 3-1, what do you feel like the ARV would be?
Perfect. That was beautiful. Like whoever needed that, just make sure you wind the tape and write everything down. Like that was perfect. And one of the main things she said is that she reached out to an agent that is doing business in that area. Don't call nobody in Atlanta telling someone, I got a deal in County. What do you think? You're not going to get the best information that you could possibly use, right? So
Yeah.
this
And then adding to that, a realtor that has worked with investors or that understands a renovated property. That's different, that's working with a different type of agent. That type of agent not only can tell you what the ARV would be, but then they can tell you like other properties that they have sold for another fix and flipper, and they can tell you what materials that they use. And like, because the other misconception that I see in the market is people think that small investors, like mom and pop investors, not institutional investors, are, where we highly affect the market, but we actually don't. We're just doing what everybody said they wanted. So um, they can tell you like what the area calls for. So also working with I would suggest calling a realtor that has worked with fix and flippers.
nice, love it. So
I forgot I was talking. My bad. I was
yeah.
answering the question.
So off of this one right here, right? What would you think? Because the person that texted me this is like, I'm about to go see the seller today. Oh wait, I didn't even see this text. It's my bad. So our property is a 4-2.
Oh,
It's a 4-2.
so it was renovated. All right. So this is what I personally would do. Can
So
you
what is weird? It says it's a 4-2, but he or she, I can't really tell. But they're saying that the property is outdated.
the property is what?
Outdated.
So it's now a 4-2.
It's now a 4-2, but it wasn't like recently renovated.
Okay, so what I would do is, what county is this?
County? That's a great question. Let me see what Google says.
So as an investor, what I would do is, and you don't have to go in this deep. So let's just pretend I don't care about this. So as an investor, what I was going to say is I would go to the county records. Well, no, even if I was just wholesaling a property, still go to the county records and look that up,
It's
because
Clayton County.
it's Clayco.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
They're in Atlanta though.
Huh?
They're in Atlanta.
In Atlanta.
They're in Atlanta.
Clayton County properties. So you can go to Clayton County properties, look the property up, see if it matches. Because a lot of
Can
times,
you show us? We still looking at Zillow.
oh, you are?
Mm.
Sorry. How do I do this? Oh, wait. I don't know how to work my thing. Let me do it. Okay, hold on. Let me find the Clayton County, and then I'll copy and paste it over here.
Okay.
Okay.
So while she's doing that, if you guys have any questions, put in the chat. We'll answer all your questions too. Oh yeah, now we see it.
Okay, so I just went to Clayton County, Georgia. Then we're gonna go to real property records. Oops, it left y'all, didn't it?
No, we still see it.
Okay. Do you have?
What you need? The address?
Is it 4597 Compin?
And it's 4597 Ryan Road.
Okay. Oh. I don't have the prop stream up, but I'm just gonna assume this is it. Okay. 4597 Ryan Road. It gives me the owner. We're gonna scroll down. Where's my property? That's the text. Oh, you look very nice.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. No. They have parking. Oops, that's not it. That definitely ain't it. What was that? Where would it be?
Was it in the? It wasn't in the summary.
Oh, here we go. Okay. So unless Clayton County just didn't, they forgot, they don't see it. They're not recognizing it as a 4-2, right?
Okay.
And it's not that big of a deal, but I would just, if it was me, I would say, hey, Mr. Seller, how long ago did you do that 4-2, and did you permit it? Just wondering.
So here's a couple of key things that she's saying right here, right? This says 2022. So they could have done something to it and made it a 4-2, but kept it on the low and still haven't told the county. Now, what she's saying is true. Does that mean they did something that wasn't permitted? Because that's not a good look for you. Because if you buy it and they come to an inspection, guess who now has to do a bunch of fixing that they didn't necessarily was expecting? The second thing is I would always pay attention to the square footage. So if you tell me it's a 4-2 and the square footage is, oh yeah, he just said, yeah, he didn't tell the county. So here's the thing. If they telling you on the phone, oh, it's not a 3-1, it's a 4-2, I would say, okay, what's the square footage? Is the square footage still the same? Because unless they added square footage, well, then technically you got more bedrooms and maybe a new bathroom, but the square footage of the house is the same square footage as the next house, the next comp, which is a 3-bedroom, 1-bath.
Yeah.
So price wise, it's not going to affect it that much, especially because whatever they did and permitted, it hasn't been permitted and it's outdated. So it's like you didn't add any real value to the property there. So I would still be looking at comps like Bianca did for that 3-1. I wouldn't be going into 4-2s, especially because the square footage side is not going to match.
Yes. Okay. Now, how do I get back to my other
That's a good question.
Okay. Yeah. So that being said, can you now see it?
Yep.
All right. Awesome. And then I learned I learned that I think a fully renovated property is going to be your best comp every time.
So he said he changed the carport into another room. So let me explain something about when
We saw that.
sellers do that, right?
Oops.
Technically, for it to officially be a room, so let's say he didn't get it permitted, like this scenario is, cool. That's not the end of the world. We can just have somebody come out and get it permitted since it's been done. But what the city and some of these counties are doing is they're very strict on you adding in a new room because it has to hit certain criteria. So that carport, if it does not have a window and it does not have a closet and a door, it is not considered a bedroom, even though they closed in the garage or the carport. It will not be considered a bedroom, which means even though it's an extra room, it's not going to have that value add that the seller wants it to have in order to sell it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, we saw that we saw that where we kind of assumed that that area was a carport that was closed in.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, so here's some feedback. I should have had whoever this is just come on so he could be able to talk with us, or she could talk with us. But they saying that it has a window, door, and closet.
yeah, okay, because we did see the window.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could just go back and forth. Let me see if I can make it so that I can go back and forth on tabs. That is annoying.
Back and forth.
Mm, Get it. And entire screen. I guess I can see my entire screen. And share. Okay. Okay. Can you see my screen?
No, not yet. And now I can.
Cool. All right. We were looking for the other one. But anyway, while that's loading. So, love you too. Thank you. Thank you. All right, this is cute. It is fully. They kept the existing wood. It looks like and kind of like just polished it a little bit. That's on LPV. Yeah, this is cute. Okay, shop. How does this shower work?
That's that new shower.
This one, I'm like, how does it? Okay, well, we didn't even get that much of the pictures, and this is when I'm like, okay, well, does the FMLA have more?
Right.
No. But then
Yeah.
that's what I would do. I'm not gonna do it right now, but yeah. So I was like, I want to see it. But we pretty know this is pretty much a fully renovated property. We do know that. This fun stuff. Let's go over here. I did say this is like one of my favorite parts. If they have it, I don't know if this.
So this is really cool, right? So while she's doing that, this house right now is listed. They took a price cut on it and it's listed for $239,999, which I love. Anytime I see 999, I just love it. Like just round it up. Stop doing me with the psychology stuff. It's a 3-2 in the 1615, which I think is a tad bit bigger than our subject property, but it's not that much bigger, right? So I wish I knew your name. I feel horrible for just thinking this, but how much are they asking for the property? Did they give you an asking price yet, or are they waiting for you to give them a number? Because I can tell you right now, this price point here is 239. How long has this been listed, Bianca?
This property?
Uh-huh.
This property has been listed not that long. It just listed 38 days. Which
So,
where is Conley? Where did we say it was Conley?
it's in Clayton County.
Was that South Atlanta?
That ain't Atlanta.
Oh. Okay, well, once again, I don't know anything about it, but for whatever reason, yeah, 38 days is, that's a month on the market, which is this area. Let's go back to it. So you see this area doesn't have, for whatever reason, just doesn't have a lot of, this neighborhood doesn't have a lot of the sold properties like recently. At least not cash that we know of. But going back to it, one of the easy ways to utilize, you saw it real quickly what this property was sold for. Somebody taught me that. Look at the sale before the sale. So it's like a storybook. So we see that this property was sold April April 28th for $151,000. So more than likely this person, more than likely, we don't really know, they added value and then they relisted it. Took about a month. So this is, but we don't really know like what the condition of the house is in, but that's probably is a flip property, I would say. That's a good guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then this property kind of was in that area. But yeah. What we do know is it's definitely not going to sell for $240 and it's still sitting on the market. So it's an okay comp. It hasn't sold yet. Let me see if I can find a sold one.
So what do you think? Like, granted, so she's about to go and look for sold properties, which is exactly what we need. But just going off of what you saw, a pretty decent, I would say, remodel sold for, or is trying to sell for, what do you think your property should be? I love pictures because pictures help me come up with a quick answer. If my property that we just saw we didn't see the inside of it, but the property that we're comping with, if it don't look like that one property that's currently struggling to sell at that price point, that's already fixed up, then my number is going to be much, much lower. Does that make sense? Because there's a strong possibility, unless there's something wrong with that one property that got the remodel, there's a strong possibility that I may not be able to sell my property at $239. I might be sitting at 200. Who knows? 215.
And that alone is a negotiation thing because then I'm thinking like, okay, they ain't selling that property for $230. Like you said, that might be $215. And then I still have to consider this whole funky market that we're about to go into. So now again, I'm taking another risk. Yeah. So yeah.
I'm thinking the ARV should be like 200.
Yeah, I do too. I vote for that. Let's look at this one because this is another neighborhood, but it's over 211.
Okay. And that's a 430.
This one looks like ours.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this was in January.
So what does that mean?
January.
This is shout out to who I wish you would have sent me your number. I mean your name. But shout out to whoever sent this in. This is a really good property to comp. Like we're getting a lot.
This is like textbook.
Yeah. So when you said that this sold in January, what does that mean? Why is that an issue? Or is it an issue?
However you want to look at it. However you want to look at it. So it's just something to be mindful of because in January the market was different. People were still in a buying frenzy. They still were in this. Buyers were still just putting offers in and doing the whole "I don't care, give it to me anyway" type of mentality. And that's like the market that we were in earlier this year. And now because of numbers or emotional fear and all, or whatever. Buyers are now being a lot more diligent in how they are purchasing. And then again, discussing the whole situation of when you are listed on market, you're getting buyers that are using loans. So less people are qualifying for loans. So
anything from, I would say probably like maybe May back, you can't really trust it.
I give you in the hot parts of Atlanta, like Brookhaven, I give you until mid-June.
Mid-June, yeah. Okay. I'll take that.
Nice,
the nice area. Now, some areas in Atlanta is just not going to get affected. It don't really matter. You know what I'm saying? Market could be hot. Market could be not hot. Their prices is not going to go down anytime soon. But for the most part, spots that normally you'd be like, wait, what? The house is selling for $300K. Oh, that's a bando. I know that neighborhood. Listen, is not the case anymore, right? At one point in time, this is exactly how real estate in Atlanta was.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but like you said, for the most part.
But it's definitely not like that no more, right? That was Lil Wayne Weezy, The Block is Hot, in case anybody didn't say that on the
Right.
way home.
Right.
But
Yeah, the
now it's
block
not.
is, it's
So
like,
what you
no, it's not nothing.
isn't
It's
it
cool.
now it's cold. It's ice cold. You know what I mean? It's stank on you with Big Boy. You know, shout out to Big Boy, man. I was talking to some of his folks this past week. But what you got to do is this comp here. Can we use it? I would use it still, but I would say instead of it be because it's still in that 6 month window, so that still works. But what I would say is whatever that sales price is, I would deduct at least 10%. Normally I'm doing anywhere between 5 and 10, so let's call it 8%. So I would deduct 10% off of that one, and that would be my assumed ARV price. Now that's just one property, so typically we don't take an ARV off of just one property. I like to do at least 3 properties, combine that number, and then get my ARV because it's the average repair unit value. But if you don't have other properties and you can only find one good, decent comp, that's exactly what you do.
I'm just trying to see if they got pictures. Oh, this one does have more pictures, but we kind of already have an idea, unless y'all want to see it. This is the one. This is the one.
Now this right here is the FMLS. Now, a lot of you guys will not be able to get access to FMLS, but is that a problem?
No,
No.
not at all. And I really just want. I'm just nosy, and I want to see pictures.
And if you have someone who you're working with, or you can build a relationship with, right? You can be at one of these events, like the event we do on August 1st at Hudson Grill at 6 p.m. Plug right there. Make sure you come out. It's going to be amazing. Where we're going to be talking about creative finance deals. In fact, we might even be talking about some of the deals Bianca just did, right? So if you meet somebody at the event that's an agent, you can legit just be like, listen, I want to give value and I need value from you. I need deals and I need to be able to comp. What can I give you in return? Can I bring you business? Or can I pay you $25 a month to be able to get my own access on the side? Like whatever it takes, whatever you got to do, then do it. But I beg you, don't go to one agent and then be like, oh, they said no. I knew this thing gonna work.
That's true because I had like 3 people tell me no.
Listen, I had people tell me no too, and I was like I'll come work for you. Just let me use it. You know what I'm saying? It was like, nah, I don't want to do that. It's cool. It's cool, but there's other people that would gladly help.
Yeah, but okay. So since this is a creative situation, okay. So we decided that the ARV is probably more like 200.
Yep.
Fun stuff though. We think that a fully remodeled home ARV could possibly get us $200,000 listed. Ain't this fun? I just want to put that out.
See that?
People love looking at Zestimate. Zestimate is typically higher, but maybe because Zillow didn't know what they were doing, they decided to bring their numbers down. I don't know. I know they were into aggregating the averages. But yeah, so this is why Zillow does, as far as like just looking at this number makes no difference to us. I could care less about this number. This one is a little bit better because it's the average of the rent in the area. And because like rent, you're gonna kind of look at it kind of differently than ARV. But anyway, so that's what we think is a comp. Do you mind if I like an example using this home? I don't know why I keep clicking over like this is Zoom. But do you mind if I use this as an example of like how like a creative deal could work? Well, not could work, but like using it.
Oh, absolutely not. Please, let's do it.
Okay. Awesome. So we feel like the ARV is like 200. Do we have an asking price yet?
He didn't message me on an asking price.
Okay, let's just pretend. Give me a pretend asking price.
Okay, pretend asking price. So I'm the seller.
Well, Yeah, give me a
I
percentage.
would say I want, because I got a 4.2. Okay, it's in Conley. That's a real popping neighborhood, popping area. It's next to the airport, and I see them building houses nearby. So I know what you guys are gonna come in here and do. So I want at least 425 for my property.
You said what?
425.
For what? You said on the Conley property?
Yeah.
You want 425.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even talk to you anymore. Oh my god, then. No, okay, because clearly are like so far away. Okay, well, I was just like, hey, Mr. Seller. So, I totally understand what you're saying about it's the upcoming area and it's close to things. But as an investor, I have to go with what the actual numbers of the market is telling me, because that is how I make sure that my business doesn't go underwater and I'm on the street. That being said, what I'm seeing properties in the area sell for at this time is more around 200,000.
Oh, okay. Man, I didn't know that. I thought I can get like 40. Did you know I added another bedroom?
Yes, I was told that you converted the garage to another bedroom.
Yep.
Did you permit that?
Um, nah, because it was during COVID, so people wasn't coming out, and I really need another bedroom. So I did. It's
Oh,
really nice though. It has a window and a closet, and it has a door.
the window closet. Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. Um, well, it's not a problem that it's not permitted. I don't mind. It sounds like a nice property. What else have you done to the property? Have you updated it at all?
Here, let's do this. Let's do this, right? Because it sounds like you're a serious buyer. Um, I want 130 for it.
130.
Yeah, I
Okay.
told you the 400 because I get a lot of phone calls all the time, and people just be playing time, wasting my time. So I want 130.
Okay. 130. Um, when is the last time you updated the property? I know you said that you converted the garage into a bedroom. Have you done anything else to the property?
No, it needs to be updated.
It needs to be updated. Okay. How old is the roof? What's the age of the roof?
Uh, 7 years old.
7 years old. Okay. Not relatively. Have you had any issues with it, with your roof? Any,
No, no,
no?
it's a
Okay.
great roof. Sometimes we go out there and stand on top of it.
All right. And then have you updated the electrical panel or anything?
Electrical panel, no, haven't done anything to electrical panel. Um, in fact, my wife just told me the roof is actually 2 years old.
So you got a brand new roof, but everything else is the original. So is that right?
It's not original. It's just outdated.
Okay. Okay. So what I do is, I did this 200,000. This is going to be our maximum allowable offer if there were no repairs needed. And so then I would say, okay, Miss Ella, like I said, I don't mind purchasing a property that has a section of the property that hasn't been permitted. However, I do have to take that into account, because if once I own the property, once I purchased it, I am now liable for all the permitting that needs to be done if the county comes by and inspects. Um, and that is going to cost me money to get the permit, you know.
But I mean,
And
they're not going to give you any problems though.
I still have to pay for it.
Okay.
So even if they may give me green light, it still costs me money to get the permits at the least.
Okay.
Is that something that you would be willing to take care of prior to me
No,
purchasing a property?
I want to just kind of be done with it. I don't want to have to do anything extra. That's why I'm giving you such a big discount.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Um, so with that being said, I'm still looking at my numbers. Mm. And did you say that the property is? My teammate said that the property was 1,400 square feet, but I'm seeing about 1,250. What's the square footage of the property?
It's somewhere about 1250, I think.
Okay. Well, materials up right now. You said it needs updating. The HVAC. How old is your HVAC unit?
About 5, 6 years.
That's pretty new. So it doesn't need that much work. But even with that, actually, you actually gave me a good cash, Eddie. You said 130. That ain't that bad. It's kind of tight. It is tight. We're just gonna pretend it's tight. I'm gonna pretend it's tight because actually, we'll do it like it's for me. So in my mind, I like to be on the safe side. I am thinking about, I can't see the inside. He said it's going to be updated from what from what I've seen and looking at everybody else's. What would you say, Eddie, would be like a price per square footage for this?
If we're doing a
A light. What are your
light
numbers?
for light right now, because things are a little bit more expensive as far as materials, I would probably say 25.
You do 25? Okay. So I was doing 35. Let's try. Okay, still. So I still need to be, just to be on the safe side, more around like 120. So, okay, Mr. Seller, how I want to do my property and the crews that I have and the materials that I want to put in the property, 130 is still just a little bit higher than what I can do. Is your price negotiable?
Oh, well, tell me what's your best price. What would you be able to do?
What I'm seeing is like with what my numbers are, I would like to be at like 115.
115.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty low.
$115,000.
That's all cash. Like,
That's all cash.
do I have to fix anything?
You don't have to fix anything. I will take care of the permit issues. You don't have to fix anything at all. You have to touch the property. You just let me know. I mean, obviously, that number is good for 3 days because I do have to be mindful of this market. It is changing. But I am on your time. I am perfectly fine with going on your timeline. You just let me know when you're ready to leave, when you're ready to sell.
Okay. So let's pause real quick. So if we were to buy this at 115, what could we wholesale it at?
If you bought it at 115, you could probably, what did we put it at? 120, 130? Maybe. To an investor who has like, maybe they do their own work.
Right.
Yeah.
Or maybe
5,000 off of it.
Or maybe one to use it as a rental.
Or a rental, yeah.
Right. Okay. So 115, you would say is like the cap. Like you wouldn't go no higher than 115.
If I was wholesaling it.
Yeah.
Um,
If you just looking to wholesale it, your mayo, you're saying to your seller would be 115.
my mail is actually 120. I told you 115 because then you would probably be in the middle.
Oh, look at that. Smooth killer. All right. So that's the price that you would get on that. Now she's gonna look at options the way she would buy it because she's buying a lot of properties and looking for properties where she can take over creatively. So
Yeah.
let's
Well,
take
let's just say the seller is like, I want 170.
Okay.
And they have to have 170.
Right.
And if I'm the investor, if I'm buying the property, not wholesaling it, if I'm buying the property, I want it to be at 120. So that's $50,000 off. Let's pretend there's no mortgage on this. It's on free and clear, He's like, I want 170 because I want 170. He doesn't have a reason. He just wants that. And that's fine. And I told him, that's cool. I do not have to fuss with you about the price. If you want 170, I can give you 170 if you allow me, if you can work with me on how I give you that 170.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Thanks. I don't know why I keep clicking out of it. Let me just close this. I don't think I need to see it anymore. And I'll bring up the calculator. Okay. All right. So let's say like you want 170, and I'm like, okay, if you allow me to, you can say terms. Some people say like, if you will sell it to me on terms, or if you allow me to give you some of the 170 now and some of the 170, some of that later, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, it would be a discussion, and that's why it's so important to understand the full story of what the seller needs, because you can attempt to structure it based off of what you want and what they need to put it together. So then let's just say Mr. Willie wants 170, and I'm like, okay, Mr. Willie, like, how much you need right now to walk away? Let's just pretend because we do. I talk to my sellers, and we chop it up or whatever, and they, whether real example, one man was like, I might want to invest in stock one day, so I just want to have some of the money. And I was like, well, while it's sitting in the bank, just like Eddy and I spoke about just a second ago, while it's sitting in the bank, you're only getting 0.007% on your money sitting in the bank. So what if I'm able to like give you a higher percentage on your money versus it being in the bank? Mm-hmm. Or in this case, hey, Mr. Willie, your property isn't, from what we're seeing, you may be able to get somebody to purchase your property cash 170. From my expertise, you may be waiting a while though, because it's going to be a very particular buyer that needs that. I just lost my train of thought. What was I talking about?
Mm-hmm. You're trying to hit us with I think he was going to give us the pitch.
Oh, yes, that's right. Why 170? So just telling him like your property isn't worth what we're seeing 170, but I don't mind paying you 170, even though your property is not worth it, if we can do the terms. So you are essentially locking in equity. We just made equity for you. We created it as investors, was like, I'm gonna give you an equity spread. Mm-hmm. However you want to state that. But that's basically what you did, right? You created an equity spread for them. Or whatever, however you stated. You gave them some equity. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then if Mr. Willie's like, okay, cool, but I want $10,000 right now at cash at closing. Okay, cool. So you can give them whatever amount they want. Cash at closing, obviously, it has to make sense for you. $10,000 cash at closing. What is that? So if you did 170, what's 10% of 170? I know I can't do math well.
Like 17. Like 17. 17,000.
17,000. Yeah. So I came into a property, me as an investor coming into a property, $10,000 cash. I came in less than 10% down.
That's solid. That's solid. I got somebody that sent me a deal today that was very similar to that. To rental property over in Texas. It's a subject to deal. Can possibly cash flow like $800 a month. And it was very similar, putting like 10K down in order to be able to make the deal work. And so that allows what Bianca is talking about is it allows for you to pay the seller the amount they want for the property, just not today, right? Like if you have something that I want and you want a price that's more than what it's actually worth today, I can still give you that price. I just won't give you all of it right now today. I'll give it to you over a course of time, which allows me the ability to be more liquid, to pay for things and make more money, and it still locks in that price for you. So whether the market continues to go up or down, guess who still is guaranteed 170?
I'll tell you.
You are, Mr. Seller, right? So super, super beneficial. Very good breakdown. Very good breakdown.
Yeah, it's very, yeah, it's So beneficial. Another example, there was a property in Brookhaven, and the seller again, and there's just some sellers, they want their number because they just want it. There is no reason, but it is a great way again to make somebody into the bank. They are now a note holder. So I think people don't really understand what that means sometimes. Like whether it's like, hey, I'm gonna make you into the bank. Well, bank have negative connotations, or maybe they don't understand how a bank works. So but it is like you're making the person, it's a big old IOU
Yeah.
that's legally recorded. It's a legal recorded IOU that can make you a lot of money depending on how savvy you are on either side.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Because this particular property, the one that's in Brookhaven, that property was probably about $50,000 over what he should be getting, on top of the fees and commissions that he would have to pay if he listed it with the agent. So
Right.
not only was he going to have to bring his purchase price down, he also was going to have to pay the agent fees and commissions. But selling it, what we offered him, well, I'm not going to go into detail because it's actually a contract for deed. Whole another conversation. So we're
That's another Zoom call.
yeah. So we're just going to say subject to for now. Taking over the mortgage, he would get $1,200 a month to him. We take over the existing mortgage, and then we were negotiating a balloon payment. But all that to say, and you know how beneficial that is for the seller. The seller is locking in $50,000 of equity in a downturn market.
And
So
what's a balloon payment?
when everything left over so when you're making payments to someone, the amount of the balance goes down. Whatever is left in that balance is due at one time. So I just think like a boom pop. The party's over. You're due.
There you go. You do. That's fine. That's fine. So again, you may fall into a scenario where you're like, Mr. Seller, I can't give you that price. It doesn't make any sense, et cetera, et cetera. You may want to try your luck at pitching something creative. How do you pitch it creative? There's two main things you can do. You could go back on this video, right? Subscribe, hit the notification bell, but watch this video and take the exact script that you heard Bianca go through and how to be able to explain it. And once you get to the part where you get stuck, you can reach out to Bianca to be able to have her walk you through the rest of the deal. Or you could be like, I'm not that nice. I'm not trying to do that. You can reach out to Bianca ahead of time and have her take over the deal, and still you get paid out of it. So that deal I talked about, we signed a contract yesterday. That astro flipping student, she didn't do anything in negotiation. She had the deal. She knew it could be a deal, but she didn't understand how to be able to make it work. I got on the phone with her and the agent, presented something that could possibly work just so I can get a feel of how the agent or what the agent truly needed. And then I came back and made an offer that for her, it was like, this is a no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
And so that's how you do. You take the information that you get from the seller to be able, like she was saying, present the best option that's going to work for them and lock it in today. So there's no more uncertainty. There's no more. You become the bank with the tanks outside of it, right? So that's a good place to be.
Yeah. And like we said, what we're doing is just providing options based off of what somebody wants and needs. So me personally, I'm not a pushy person because I feel like I said, I don't. If it don't work for me, don't work for me. Work for better you to list it. And I'm gonna tell you, go ahead and list it. If it don't work, come back around because you know what I'm saying. It really is about like wanting to help people and providing other options aside from traditional options and leaving people out of. Oh, just leaving people out. I just don't like leaving people out. We need to be, the more literacy you have, especially with real estate, because real estate, kind of goes in with like financial literacy to me. Well, I guess because I'm in real estate. But yeah, so it just allows other people to be a part of the real estate conversation or selling, whatever, buyers, all that good stuff. And yeah, as far as like I tell realtors and I tell wholesalers, I want to pay you. We want to pay you. Um, if you have a seller who you can't figure out a solution for, and you come to us and we do it, we still want to, we want everybody to to profit in this, to have their value, to feel appreciated. So that's where it's like, I don't know. I guess because I have bad experience with realtors that were like, I don't want to do it. And then their seller didn't sell the property at all, or they end up selling it at a bigger discount. And because I kind of knew the story, it was like, if you just came over, we could have did something better for your seller. So I don't know.
Mhm.
Don't be that person that's like, if I can't have you, nobody can have you. Don't do that.
Yeah, definitely don't do that. And the person said that they're gonna try to offer 105 based on what we just talked about. So definitely do that. Offer that 105. If you need help, reach out. We'll come in, you know what I mean, and get it. If you can get it, then reach out, lock that thing up, and we'll have the buyer set aside for you. So I might even buy it. So definitely do that. Shout out to my Houston folks came through. What's going on? And my guy Dion, what's up, bro? Yeah, I was just talking about you, man. What's good? Dion is a killer, killing the game.
I see. I know.
Doing his thing. I love it.
Yeah, I'm doing all the deals, helping everybody out.
Love it. Love it.
Like
Uh, Vincent, let me share my screen and see. Vincent says August 1st. I didn't hear about that event. How can I get the info on the group page? So, Vincent, here's what you should do. And it's for everybody that's here. If you need to, what I would recommend doing, just go to this Facebook page right here. It's a Facebook group that we run, Atlanta Elite Real Estate Connections. It's free to join.
oh my,
And you see, if you come down here, you see the event. So it's going to be August the 4th, not the 1st. It's August the 4th. It's going to be from 7 to 10. You'll see the link right here where you can be able to get your ticket. And you want to get it as soon as possible because I promise you it's going to fill up. If you know us, you know how we do events. We always doing it somewhere cool, somewhere dope and fun. And we're never going to stop doing that. So come through. It's going to be food. It's going to be games. I'll be there talking about closing deals, talking to sellers. But the main event is going to be Abraham Gray. He's going to be talking all creative finance. He's going to be talking all things on doing deals and how to talk to people and connect with people to be able to do the deals. Very similar and exactly the same way you heard Bianca talking about it, and how you could be able to get deals like that and send them over to Bianca because she wants to get that condo. She's like, yo, hook me up and get that condo.
But I really, if anybody's in Southeast Georgia, like Brunswick area, now too, that's really where I really want some creative deals. In Augusta. So.
All right, boom. Well, you got it. Well, listen, we had a blast. We went. Hold on a second. Got another message. This is the only time he'll be showing it, so I get the picture. Thanks again for the info. Of course. Good stuff. I'm glad we was able to help. And again, today we use a free product. We use Zillow to be able to kind of get you guys to understand how to comp. And you start seeing, like, we're not teaching you anything different from any of the other places you can go learn how to comp. There's tons of amazing sources on how to comp, right? What you're doing is we're teaching you the mind frame, the thought process behind it, and how to be able to extract the information and be able to give a price, whether it's creatively or for a wholesale deal, and how to do it right the first time instead of going back and then saying some cockamamie story about your contractor said the price is too much, and so now you need a price reduction. Listen, go for the right price the first time so you don't have to deal with all that. And again, you want to make sure you're doing your business properly so that you end up in the right conversations when people talk about you and your business and not the wrong one, because that will get you essentially shunned from doing business. Nobody's going to do business with you because they're going to know you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, and it doesn't put the seller in a good. It doesn't put anybody in a good position because as a TC, that's where I see, like people acquisitions on the front end. They're like, oh, you could just renegotiate the price. As a TC, I see all the emotional side of stuff, and when people are like, the seller's getting like sketchy because they're not being told everything. And yes, can you renegotiate? Yes, you can. But the longer time goes on, and then adding in like title stuff, your seller may get tired of you and just be like deuces, and then that's it. All because you're just playing the game. You know what I'm saying? So don't. That's why I was like, it ends up being a waste of money. So just know your stuff off the bat first, and it makes everything a lot easier.
Yep. And just so that you know, like I've told people a price point that they did not like, but after they kept talking to a whole bunch of investors and got, dragged back and forth, like, oh, we can pay that price, and then got hit with the hoo-ha and all that, guess who that investor ended up calling? Me. They called me back because they was like, listen, you gave me a price that I did not like, but I think you were right because all the other people who were trying to give me more couldn't close. And at the end of the day, if a seller wants to sell, gets what the only thing is important to them. It's actually selling the property. It's not staying in the process of like getting ready to sell or like they don't want to deal with that. They actually want to sell it because they want to move on with their life from whatever the scenario or situation is. So
Yeah.
we got to do our best part, like Bianca was saying, helping them. Right? So this is what we do. What we do best. We solve problems, and we can get paid a hell of a lot of money for it, as you should when you're solving problems. But more importantly, you are solving problems. You're changing people's lives. You're helping people. That's why it's extremely important to know how to do it the right way, educate yourself, squat up, partner with people so that you can make that change and make everybody happy. The world goes around.
It does, and that's what makes it so much fun. That's what to me.
Yep. So Bianca, again, the first lady ever to be on Compin Atlanta. Definitely not gonna be your last time. We're definitely gonna have you come back, come hang out with the crew,
For
and
sure.
be one of our guests. Anything going on in your world you want the good people to be able to know and how to reach you or anything like that?
You can email me or DM me on Facebook. I am on Instagram. It's just _ this Bianca. I don't use it for real estate, but you are more than welcome to DM me if you have any questions. Email is going to be the easiest if it's long. Right now, like I said, I want creative properties, so anything that's on terms, in Augusta and South Georgia, so like Brunswick, Savannah area. We have some really good deals in Atlanta. Bring them over. If I'm gonna make Eddy work on them with me if it's a flip. So as long as the numbers are good, we're good. We're buying all the time. I have a lot of I have lenders that I gotta satisfy. So please send me some deals because they over here get. When's the next one? When's the next one? And I'm like, I'm trying.
There you go.
Okay.
So what she's talking about is she's dealing with a lot of private money people that's trying to throw money at her so that their money could be put to use. And so she needs some deals to be able to do that. So definitely send it away. Super appreciative of everything that you do and how you give back. Obviously, the community sees it, feels it, and you are definitely going to be one of the amazing people.
Thanks, Vincent. Thank you, Eddy.
For sure. Annette said, I'm on it. Help me, Eddy. We got you, Annette.
Yeah, tell us what you need.
Let's get it. All right. So with that being said, people, have a great one. We'll tune in next week, same time, same place. Do me a favor, invite a friend, send the link out. It's going to be on YouTube, Facebook Live, whichever way you like to connect. Bring your deals so that we can help you, right? Like the individual we just talked to, I'm really hoping they can get it locked in at the right price because that would be awesome, right? When they woke up this morning, they probably had no idea how to be able to get this price, how to be able to know if they got it at the right price. And now they do. Now they're going to see the property and hopefully it ends in an amazing fat check for them. And I'll just love to be part of that story. All right, so keep it going.
At least they got other options. Even if that number doesn't work, we
That's
still
it.
got other
You
options.
got options, and you connected with individuals like Bianca who can help you through it. So please don't go in thinking like, damn, but if this don't work, then I'm out. Like, nah, you now made a strong pillar in the real estate game that's gonna help you guys. Promise you. Make sure you follow her, send her an email, introduce yourself, and watch how the money start flowing in.
Yeah.
All right. With that being said, everybody have a good one. Peace.
Have a blessed one.